Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Country music star Pam Tillis brings her Bells and Bows, Country Hits, and Christmas Favorites tour to Rams Head in Annapolis on Sunday. We spoke about her journey from growing up the daughter of country legend Mel Tillis to recording her own hits like Maybe It Was Memphis. Hey, Pam Tillis. Hey, thank you so much for joining us on WTOP Radio in Washington, D.C.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, and we're talking because you're coming to the Rams Head in Annapolis, which is right down the road from DC, on Sunday, December 11th, and you're calling it the Bells and Bows Tour, Country Hits and Christmas Favorites. So I guess that says it all. But so we're gonna hear some of our favorite songs of yours from over the years, as well as some stuff that are timed with the season, I guess.
That's right, and I'd like to explain the name of it, the holiday tour. Bells is it's an all-female trio, and they're incredible musicians. They sing. A lot of my records have female harmony, so I needed to get great singers and players, and they really truly are talented young women that I'm bringing with me. And then the bows are the fiddle and violin that is so prevalent in my acoustic trio, and I've got a wonderful pianist. And yeah, so you set it up pretty good, though. I'm going to be doing a lot of my country hits, and then some Christmas songs. And I get into, Christmas is such a nice. We do the same show all year long. I mean, we change it up a little bit, but I've been doing a lot of the same songs now since the '90s, and so Christmas is always a chance to kind of do something a little bit different, a little bit outside the box. So.
Definitely. Well, the bells, it's a double meaning, we got jingle
double
bells
meaning.
and then
That's
bell,
right.
B-E-L-L-E-S
That's right.
for the trio of singers. It all works. I see. Right. Yeah, we're seeing how you're doing. Always double meanings. All right, cool. Well, and I know you had that one Christmas album, 15 years ago or something called Just in Time for Christmas. Was that the only one you've ever done, or is there another one?
We just did, we just released a Christmas single. I collaborated with a pianist by the name of Corey Cottle. He's an amazing player. And we just did a version of Christmas Time Is Here, the old Charlie Brown.
Of course, the
song, which we'll be doing. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And it just came out on Spotify on Thanksgiving Day. So check it out, y'all.
Awesome. So we'll hear that. And you want to toss out another Christmas song title or two that we might hear if we come to the Rams Head?
Let me think. Yeah. Well, let's see. I've got a version of Three Ships, the kind of a Celtic flavored thing. And I'll Be Home for Christmas, and some things that you might not have heard before. I mentioned Christmas Time Is Here. One of my favorites, written by a friend of mine, Ashley Cleveland, who is a former Dove. She's a Christian rock artist. She wrote a song called Walk Through Bethlehem that B.J. Thomas did years ago. I think Trisha Yearwood covered it.
B.J. Thomas, rest in peace.
Yeah, right. But we do a version of it as well. And Put a Little Love in Your Heart, the old Jackie DeShannon song. So yeah, we got a very, my music is, I throw in a lot of elements. I love all genres.
Thanks for teeing up the concert. Whenever I have, a country legend on like yourself, I love to sort of hear your superhero origin story. I know you were born in Florida, but you grew up mostly in Nashville. Is that right?
I did. Dad moved us here, my mom and I was just a little bitty baby. And I grew up in Nashville in this incredible creative community, and it just kind of rubbed off on me. And so I've been kind of following in his footsteps for many, many years now.
And well, of course, we got to mention who your famous dad was.
Right, my dad,
Mel Tillis, of course.
Yeah,
don't undersell that
Tillis,
part.
The one and only. And we talk about him a little bit in the show too. But yeah, so I just grew up surrounded by it, and I fell in love with it. And I never really wanted to do anything but be a singer. So
yeah. Before we get on, before I move into your big hit albums and stuff, real quick, while we're still talking about your dad, because my grandfather will freak out when he found out I'm talking Mel Tillis. Do you have a favorite song of your dad's? And that's hard. It's almost like picking your favorite kid or something. But I Ain't Never and Good Woman Blues and Coca-Cola Cowboy, and there's so many.
I am so impressed with you. You're a country kid. I am.
Oh,
really
we love
impressed.
it. But do you have a personal favorite?
Daddy wrote a song for for Kenny Rogers, Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town.
Of course.
And I've always thought that was just a masterwork, just incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for shouting that one out too. Everyone will know that Kenny Rogers song. All right, cool. Well, now we're bringing it back to, your own journey, because let's face it, you're an amazing artist on your own. So I guess probably thanks to Dad, you were singing on the Grand Ole Opry stage at a really young age, right? What age was it?
I first got to sing on the Opry when I was 8 years old.
That's crazy.
and now I'm a member, which is really incredible. I became the first woman of the new millennium, and I joined in 2000. So
that
seems like yesterday.
So exciting. Well, so you're singing on there at a young age. I know you get that record deal, that first album, Above and Beyond the Doll of Cute, in 83, and I know you put another, I guess, a single,
wow,
that one of those things out in 86, which I guess you re-released it on your later album, but back then it's starting to bubble up. ACM's taking notice, top new female vocalist, all that stuff in the 80s. But tell me about those early days, with that first album. Any good memories?
Well, the first album was actually a pop record. I thought I was going to be the next Madonna. I always sang a lot of different styles. And actually, as a session singer and a jingle singer, I got a lot of work that wasn't particularly country. I sang a little bit of R&B, and I've sung a little bit of jazz, and just all different kinds of people call me for all different kinds of things. So my first record was kind of a pop effort. And, but, and I've lived on the West Coast for a little while, and just kind of experimented with some different musical styles, but I came back to country because it just really who I am. And my writing was very much a lot more in a country vein. You can dress it up with pop production, but it was basically much closer to the country music style of writing that I'd grown up around. So I came back, and it was the right thing. Another reason I kind of went off on a tangent for a long time is it just felt like country music was in this place. It changes all the flavor, the styles changed all the time. And for a while, I wasn't really, I don't know, I wasn't into the sound at the time. When I was a teenager, I was much more into rock, and it seemed like my dad's music, my dad is old people music. and it took me a while to really appreciate, when sometimes you overlook what's in your own backyard.
Right.
And then once I kind of, I don't know, it slowly dawned on me how rich my roots, how incredible. And I just started tuning back into it in a whole different way. And I started paying attention to everything I'd tried to ignore for so long. And anyway, it worked out. And the style of country radio was changing as well.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there were people like Dwight Yoakam and a group called Foster and Lloyd, and
Bakersfield sound coming in a little bit.
And it was kind of a mix of a little bit of a rock and roll cool attitude mixed in with country music. And when I saw people like the Eagles and Emmylou Harris and people I thought were so hip, and they were idolizing the stuff I'd grown up around, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I've been missing something. So,
maybe that was it, the old Wizard of Oz, like you said, your own backyard. Maybe I need to look in my own house.
Maybe this stuff is way cooler than I thought.
Maybe my dad was onto something.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're glad that you did, because I know, like you're saying, there was like a little hiatus there in the 80s, but then in early 90s, you did Put Yourself in My Place with that very hit song. Tell me about Don't Tell Me What to Do. How did that song, did you write that one, or who wrote that one?
No, that was
Harlan Howard and Max Barnes.
Harlan Howard and Max Barnes Jr. Harlan Howard wrote my dad's, as prolific as my dad was with his songwriting. His very first #1 record was a Harlan Howard record. Mm-hmm. So it just worked out. It was just fate that it happened that way. But that was a song about being hard-headed, and it seemed to fit.
So that fit, because you were so hard-headed about wanting to do country. So there you go.
That's right. Well, yeah, I was hard-headed about doing whatever the heck I wanted to do at the time.
Back then,
and so, but it fit. The attitude was right for the times, although it was very simply told. There again, straight up no frills country songwriting. And I thought, to tell you the truth, I thought, number one, I thought it was too short. It was like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And it was so simply written. It didn't even have a bridge. And I went, is this a hit song? I don't know. I just know I like it. And I just know I love singing it. And I'll be darned if it wasn't a number one record. So go figure.
I love it. I love it. And of course, that same album has, to me, what is like your all-time song that'll probably echo into eternity, which was Maybe It Was Memphis. I love it. First Grammy nomination, I believe, for that one. But any good stories of being in the recording, belting that? Because to me, that's one of those great, just open up, like wind your window down in the car or in the shower, and you just belt that song, all of us fans. But
there's two parts to my answer because you just reminded me of something. Yeah, I'd been workshopping that song for a long, long time, and people would always really respond to it. But I'd actually recorded an earlier version of it with a whole different band, and it wasn't that great. But I believed in the song, not to diss the players. It just wasn't.
Sure.
Sometimes magic happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So the second time we recorded it, the track was so good that I knew I just had to bring it. And so I can remember there was nobody else around, just me and the engineer, Ed C. And I think we basically turned off all the lights in the studio, and I went some other place. I closed my eyes in the control room, in the vocal booth, and I just let the whole song play out in my mind like a movie. Right. I think it was like I just went there. I was in Memphis when I sang this song. I was in Nashville, Tennessee, but in my mind, I was really in Memphis.
You transported.
Yeah, I really did teletransport, and I just sang my little heart out, and it worked. So I was so grateful for that.
You said there was two-part answers? You said a two-part answer?
Oh, the second part is when you said roll the window down and sing along.
Oh, yeah.
So Don't Tell Me What to Do had done well, and a couple other singles had, charted really high, top 5, top 10. Memphis was the last single, and you're trying to maintain that momentum. And I'm like, well, this could all end tomorrow. You're still nervous for a while. It takes a while to really get enough hits to feel like you've really made it. One hit won't do it. Anyway, right. So I'm rolling down Harding Place in Nashville, Tennessee, and I roll up to a red light, and I guess that song was on the radio, and I looked over, and I'm not a big nationwide name yet either, right. But I looked over, and there's a gal in the car right next to me. She never saw me, and she had her head thrown back, and I could tell what she was singing. I looked over, and I realized she was going, and she was singing along with it. And I'm like, oh, I've hit on something. Thank you, Jesus.
When Pam Tillis, the singer of the song, winds down her window and sees someone else singing the song,
that's right.
You've made it.
Yeah.
That's so great. Well, tell me about the next album. I love Shake the Sugar Tree. I mean, that's just, some catchy turns of phrases, like a fruit from a pickle vine and sweet in the nick of time, all that good rhyming phrase.
Lady from up New England way, Chapin Hartford wrote that. But that was a good one. But in regards to your question about, I've got a new album that came out. Well, it's only like a year and a half old, maybe close to 2 years now, called Looking for a Feeling. And a little bit of 70s, and you kind of, people can probably figure out, if we're talking about having music out in the 80s, they know I've been around a while. No, nothing to hide there. But but I, a lot of my musical coming of age was during the late 70s. Want to mention how sad I am about Christine McVie. I was a complete rabid fanatic. Fleetwood Mac. It's part of my musical DNA too. And anyway, so I had some 70s influences on this Looking for a Feeling record. And I'd kind of not been writing a lot over the last, there was a period of time when I wasn't writing as much. I was just so busy on the road, but a lot more original songs on this record. I think I wrote I don't know, 8 out of 11. And yeah, so it's just a fun little patchwork of styles and stories. Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for teasing the new album. It's called Looking for a Feeling, you said. All right, cool. And thank you for indulging us on some deep dives into a couple of those hits. I know we're up against the clock, so we won't go through all of them, but I want to tell our listeners for posterity, you have to check out all the stuff. When you walk in the room, Me, Vina Loca, In Between Dances, Deep Down, All the Good Ones Are Gone, Same
Thank
Old,
you.
the whole thing. Everyone go check those out.
Thank you.
But I really, really appreciate you joining us. And everyone check out Pam Tillis at the Ram's Head in Annapolis on Sunday, December 11th. Any final plug for that show? Like talk directly to the listeners and say, come on out. It's gonna be a good time.
Come on out. I promise. I mean, it's always a good time there. We've been there several times. It just has a great vibe. There's a reason that it's been around as long as it has been. And like I said, you'll love my trio, and it's, my show's pretty down to earth, a lot of stories, and yeah. So come on down. We'll share a cup of cheer. I want to mention that I've got a holiday single out. I think I said it, but I'll say it again. Came out on Spotify Thanksgiving Day, and I think I told you about it, but I'm telling you about it again, because if you put it on, sip some eggnog, and then look up how far it is from you to the Ram's Head, and that's how quickly you can be down there and hang out with us. So come on down.
Perfect teaser. Hey, Pam Tillis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Great to talk to you.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.
Explain your DNA on 10 cases, man.
You're inside the police interrogation room with the alleged Potomac River rapist.
I'm not guilty on any of this stuff.
So calm, so reasonable. Could this be the man who terrorized women for 9 years before murdering a brilliant scientist 2 decades ago? Experience one of the most fascinating true crime podcasts available. Join crime reporter Paul Wagner for Unknown Subject, Season 3 of WTOP's American Nightmare series. Search American Nightmare Podcast on all podcast platforms.
I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.